Yay! We're here. We're finally here.
There we are.
There we are. Look at those two good-looking brunettes just hanging out, smiling. So, what's the countdown? When school start?
Monday.
Monday,
One more home day
Monday.
with all the children.
Ooh,
Then
lovely.
it starts.
Oh, I still have another month. I just get kicked out of my house. That's the
Yes.
only, yeah. And then I get a lot more work done when the girls are in daycare. Can I get an amen in the chat?
I'm gonna
Yay.
amen you from right here on the screen.
There we go. I got a couple of
There it
A.
is.
Oh, Laura, one more week until school starts. Homeschool. Yeah, that's never ending. Are we related? Are you my cousin? I have a cousin, Jessica. I'm not familiar. Didn't realize she worked at a church. No
What?
way. Oh my gosh. Mind blown. Talk about good biblical names.
That is funny.
Well, welcome everyone. We'll let everyone trickle in a little bit here. Thank you for being playful. If you have any fun summer activities that you, oh, yes. All right. Well, welcome. I'm glad he got that. Well, that's fun. I'm gonna have to look that up.
Matt's just chatting with
Welcome.
Jessica
I'm
here in the
sorry.
chat. If
I'm
you're
chatting
feeling
with the
left
chat.
out, catch up in
Yep.
the webinar chat.
Just catch up in the chat and drop your favorite summer activity that you've done so far. My daughter, my oldest daughter, just turned 3. Her birthday party was last weekend, and we got gifted a rather large inflatable water slide, like 12
Oh,
foot by 13 foot. And
that's a serious slide.
yeah, it was real. I went down it once, not gonna lie, with my daughter,
Only once.
So she only once. Yeah, daddy didn't want to get too wet. So, but yeah, no, any other fun summer activities, Becky? You?
Oh, we just moved, so we're still just getting our feet on the ground. But we are always zoo people. We love
Hmm.
the zoo.
And how's your local zoo in your new digs? Give me the assessment.
Nashville Zoo. I like it. I like it. It's different than our zoo was way back out in Oregon. They
Okay.
have there's just different animals. There's some animals we miss.
Hmm.
Some animals that we have here. I think my kids' favorite part that we didn't have at the other zoo is there's a kangaroo area that you can walk through and you pet the kangaroos and they just come right up to you. So
Yeah.
it's pretty fun, interactive.
Well, kangaroos are wallabies because kangaroos are big.
I think they're kangaroos.
Okay. Full size
Ah,
or baby kangaroo?
they're smaller than that. So maybe
Okay.
baby kangaroos. I don't know.
Maybe baby.
Maybe
Maybe
baby.
baby kangaroos. I feel like that
I
should be a
thought we
song.
put a no singing on here, Matt.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was clapping. Hi, Mary. Hi, Bree. Represent Colorado. Going to the pool at night with the lights on. I love it.
Ooh, that'd be fun.
There we go. I've had some bistro lights that I got and I was going to repurpose in my backyard, and they've been sitting in my shed for a couple of years. So we'll talk about
Are
home
you gonna get
renos
them up
on the.
before
Um,
the end of summer?
that's a definitely maybe not. Um, yeah, I
At
don't
least
know.
you're honest.
At least I'm honest. We have another birthday party. My youngest daughter is turning 1 next weekend, so that's the big birthday.
That is a fun one.
Hi, Pam. I know I didn't say hi to everybody who said hi in the chat, but
That's
I
true. We
love
got
you
lots of
guys.
friends in here.
I appreciate you being here. So we are at 5 minutes past. So we're going to get going because we want to bring as much value as we can to you guys. We're going to be talking about registration forms. You know, the wonderful Miss Becky, consultant extraordinaire. And I will be your moderator slash hype guy, Matt. I work on the marketing department. And so may crack some jokes and hopefully I won't lose my job by the end of this. So Going on into the next slide, we always like to have a scripture for our webinars. And I don't know if we've ever used the message translation, so we're getting a little edgy here using the message, but coming out of Proverbs 21:5, careful planning puts you ahead in the long run. Hurry and scurry puts you further behind, right? And I'm sure working on church staff, we've all been there, right? I know I've been there. I'm pretty sure Becky's been there, and maybe you perhaps have also been there. So we appreciate you guys being here to invest in the planning phase and building of registrations, what you can do, and taking that to the next level. So before we jump in, I'd like to just do a quick prayer, and then we'll get on with our webinar. So Father God, we just thank you so much for your love and for your goodness, for the time that we get to spend together, just encouraging one another and strengthening one another. So God, help us in our conversation today that it would be fruitful and pleasing to you, so we can just continue to be faithful with the people, the tools, and the resources that you've gifted us with. We love you, Lord, and we praise you. In Jesus' name, amen. All
Amen.
right. So we're going to get warmed up here. This is our agenda today, registration basics. We're going to get a little deeper, next steps. And then at the end, we always try to leave a little bit of time for some FAQ and Q&A. So let's get warmed up. I'm going to throw you just a quick little softball sports reference. I don't know if you played sports growing up, but I'm going to throw you a softball to get us going.
Okay.
But what are just some common use cases when it comes down to registrations?
Well, I think the biggest ones that I see in churches are going to be groups, small groups, Bible studies, life groups, community groups, whatever it is that you call it in your ministry setting, and then events. Obviously, we've got camps, we've got retreats, we've got celebrate the church events. There's you guys know. You can come up with millions of ideas, but engaging in community in some way with a group, with an event, inviting people from the outside. There's all kinds of ways to
There
use
you go.
registrations.
Yeah, solid single got us kicked off. We got a man on
Perfect.
first. So let's just peel back the onion a little bit. Okay, what are maybe some more niche or creative registration ideas? Let's dive into some specifics. Yeah, what comes to mind when it comes to that?
Well, one of the seasons we're just wrapping up right now is VBS. We've been doing a lot of work with churches on VBS. If you're interested, there's a summit session, TouchPoint Summit. There's a summit session about how to organize VBS and how to execute that through TouchPoint. Sometimes you might just need it for a simple yes or no. Like, are you coming or are you not? That's really all we need to know. Um, Small groups, obviously, like I just said, especially as we head into the fall season, lots and lots of people wanting to get connected with groups and back into the rhythm and the routine of fall. Newsletters, lots of times using registrations to get people in your communication pipeline. I'm going to throw it out there again. There's a session on newsletters. What's my next one? Oh, missions trips. Guess what? We got a session for that too. All of
Uh,
these things we're going to be talking about at Summit. They're all very specific use cases, but a lot of them just have a different, each of them are set up uniquely. So your mission strips serve a different purpose than what your newsletters serve, which serves a different purpose than getting people connected to small groups. Um,
and so
and I
all
think
those have to
we've
be
got
set up
even
a
more
little
Summit
differently.
sessions.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But before I talk about that, I do have to say the newsletter one is not one that I had necessarily implemented on my time being on staff. And so I just love the creativity and versatility to be able to have a specific registration for newsletters and for communications and those kinds of things. So if you're not currently utilizing TouchPoint to the fullest for newsletters, that may be a good summit session for you to circle on your calendar. So speaking of summit, right, there's actually 3 more summit sessions, building registrations, managing registrations, and then the follow-up after those events. So there are 6, count them, 6 different summit sessions on registrations. So that's our small little plug. Anyway, I digress. Let's move on. So we've talked about the what of the registrations. How can you customize a registration form?
We've got so many ways. So one of the first things you're going to see is just the registration shell and your graphics. You can brand things to look like your church. Your TouchPoint database should have a custom URL that's going to match. All of this is, we as TouchPoint want to get out of the way. What we want is to highlight your church and the ministry that you guys are doing.
Mm.
We want it to look like you. We don't want it to look like us. Okay, you can build questions however you need them to be. We have conditional logic. So when you say, do you have allergies? Yes or no? If you say yes, we're going to add some additional questions for you. Are you bringing your own lunch or do you want us to buy you a lunch? We can tweak those registration questions and basically just make them very applicable to what the person is doing.
Mm.
We can use subgroups, which is a way to just break down within your registration ways to identify different groups of people that you might want to communicate with. There's so many different tools that we have at our fingertips to
Ooh,
customize these registrations.
that's pretty.
See,
Well,
look at that. We've got a nice image in the background. We've got our event graphic. Nowhere on there does that say TouchPoint, which we love.
one place you will find it saying Touchpoint, the lovely Miss Haley dropped a link to register for Summit, and you'll see
Yeah,
a
you will.
custom branded Touchpoint registration with a nice, fun video background of cross church. Just
Absolutely.
a fun thing, housekeeping, I forgot to mention, if you have any questions, we will do Q&A at the end. Please make sure to put them in the Q&A box, not in the chat. We're having fun in the chat. We're asking questions in the Q&A. Just a little housekeeping on that. So now
Excellent.
you've created a beautifully branded registration for a fantastic event. Now, people may need to pay for said event, right? What about money? What are some of the options that people have regarding payments for registration?
Yeah, there's again, this is another piece that can be customized so much. You can have free registrations. You can have just one solid base fee. You can take a deposit. You can have different questions that customize that. I'd also like to purchase a t-shirt and I want the skydiving option, which adds another $75, which side note, I don't actually want that option. I'm not going skydiving. But some people might want to pay that. Based on different involvements, if you are part of our leaders group, you might see a different fee than what our registrants are going to see.
Mm.
And then, of course, we've got scholarships and discount codes and ways to reduce the registration fees for those who need it.
And you can change like the dates on all of those and set up like different early bird rates or,
Absolutely.
oh, that's awesome. So create your event, right? Looks awesome. People can pay for it. They're registered and pay for it. What about communication? What are some tools that are available that churches can utilize to help communicate with their attendees before, leading up to, and maybe even after the event?
We've got communication tools built in all the way. So obviously they're going to get a confirmation email when they register. I love the example that we put on the screen here though, because again, this is branded, it's specific to your event. It's also highlighting some of the next things that are coming up.
Ooh.
So in your confirmation email, you can use that for a whole bunch of different things. You can use it to remind them of the selections they've made, what are the next steps that are coming, link out to other events. Um, you can set up reminders before the event that can send. We always are going to work on doing good follow up, right, from church events. And so we've got tools that can help you automate the event follow up. And the mobile app being integrated, our TouchPoint mobile app, being integrated with our system and just making it so easy um, for people to follow your channel, to see your posts, to get the updates from you once they've engaged in your event.
Yeah, I do love how clean this looks. One from the branded experience of they're getting a confirmation for the event, but then at the bottom, like you said, there's a call to action. There's another step for a way to get people engaged. That it's not cluttered. It's well thought out. So I
And I think
absolutely love that.
we miss that opportunity a lot because we think confirmation is just give them the information that they need to know for this event. But I think that we
Right.
sometimes miss the ministry opportunity that can be included in that.
Yeah, I'm all about leading people kind of into their next faith step and further communication without overwhelming people, right? Like
Yep.
just from a targeted standpoint. So, for maybe those of the us in the room that aren't as intimately immersed and familiar with registrations, that's probably more me than anyone else. But what are some of the benefits of subgroups? Just talk me a little bit through when to use them, when you don't need to use them, what they do, because you had mentioned that, but I'd like to kind of
Yep.
flesh that out.
Subgroups, I think, are one of the most powerful tools that we have within the registration because what it allows you to do is segment people into smaller sections. So you might have 100 people registering for your event. You have 25 of them that are new and 75 who have come before. You have 50 who are coming in with a partner that they're doing the event with, but another 50 who are coming in by themselves. You have 35 who are bringing their own lunch and another 65 who are not. Um, all of those things, each of those groups, you may need to communicate different information to, and you may need to, sometimes it's separating them out by the people who paid their whole fee up front and those people who chose to make just a deposit, and you need to follow up later. So, subgroups and sort of this idea that we call segmentation is really just a way of breaking down your groups into smaller groups, usually for the purpose of communication, but sometimes that's you need a head count for who's bringing their own food and who's not. How much are we providing? And so we can get those answers all through just the way that we set up the question and how we gather the information in the registration.
Yeah. On the communication of a subgroup to be able to see them. We saw your registration form and we're not just sending you like an email template, but this applies to you and your specific ministry situation. I would highly encourage that. The larger the event too, right? The more important it is for us to really see our congregants. So Haley, would you actually mind pausing our little slideshow presentation here? And I think we're gonna talk brass tacks here, just a couple of real practical applications and kind of putting it all together when it comes to registrations. But what are some ways that churches can use the specific data from a registration for ministry decisions, right? So each time we collect data, it's going into TouchPoint, but how can we fully utilize that data to make decisions?
Well, one of the things I like to say is if you put it into TouchPoint, there's always a way to get it out. So, whatever information that you're gathering in your registration, we have searches and reports and all kinds of things that we can customize and help you with that are going to allow you to take that information and then take some actionable steps. Like you just said, like this is where we are start making our ministry decisions is based on the data and the information that we're gathering. So we can look things up like how many people have come to this type of event? How many people signed up and actually attended? How many
Mm,
are first time people who have never come to any event before in our church? So there's searches, there's reporting. When you choose to mark attendance and record attendance, that again allows you, by knowing who's there, you can also find out who's not there, right?
hmm
And so it's giving you these ministry opportunities and kind of giving you these ideas of where you might want to sort of target your next push. Um, we also have systems that can trigger workflows. We call it process builder. And so after someone's registered for a registration, what are the next steps? What are the next things that we want to encourage them to do? Um, yeah, again, that's all just going back to like where are we going with our ministry decisions after the event and how do we take all that information and put it to use so we can watch registration trends, we can watch are there specific topics that work well, nail on some communication strategies. There's just so much information that we can gather from a registration
Yeah.
form.
Yeah. From like event-based management, one of my favorites was not just, creating a really good event, providing a lot of good value and reminding them to come and taking attendance, but one, having a next faith step for them to take at that event,
Yes.
right? And two, doing that kind of follow up. Thank you to all the people that registered and came, and we were glad that you were there. And we have this list of people, but then also to all the people that registered and didn't come, hey, we missed you, right? And
Yes.
we'd love to invite you into this next step or the next time that we do this kind of event or breakfast or group. And so just letting people know, like, hey, we know that you were interested and you weren't able to make it for whatever reason, and we still see you, right? We want to be a part of your life.
And we noticed. We noticed
Right.
that you weren't there.
Yeah, for sure. So let's do just a little mini recap. We have a little bit further to go, but give me some best practices for setting up events, right? So what's maybe like a checklist or things to keep in mind as far as a process goes?
Well, I think really thinking through your registration ahead of time before you even start, trying to
Mm,
figure out what is the information you need before you even start building. Um, that that takes a lot of brain work sometimes, but you're really going to see the most success when you're really putting a lot of thought in up front about what it is that you need to ask and what information you can gather. I mentioned before conditional logic, and that is the ability to have someone see a different set of questions based on a selection that they've made. We only want people to see the questions that they need to see. One of the things I've been telling churches is the last thing you want to do is teach people to skip over half of your information because it might not apply to them. If what we already got an uphill battle with communication, right? We want people to actually read and hear and listen to what we're saying. So one of the best ways we can do that is keep the form relevant and only ask the
mm,
questions that we need to know to the people that we need to know them from. Um, I think that thinking through what are your different pricings? Are there different discounts that need to be applied? Are there different, we've talked about subgroups. Are there different subgroups within this group of registration people that you're going to need to have called out, that you're going to need to know this group is separate than this group? The newcomers are different than the people who have come to retreat for 5 years in a row. Um, so thinking through some of those groups that you need to target and maybe adjust fees for. And then thinking through where are the other places, like that confirmation email that we talked about, that kind of that bonus engagement touch and that bonus, where can you plug something else from the church or some other next step in ministry? Where can you plug
mm,
that into your registration process? And have it less, we as administrative type people can get really locked in, like there's a form, there's a start, there's an end, but how do we turn that into a ministry experience, just their process of filling out the form and of providing their information?
mm.
And then really focusing on good follow-up. What is follow-up from your event going to look like? And sometimes that means we need to gather some information in the registration on the front end to know the best ways to follow up with people after the fact. Are you already in a group? Might you be interested in joining a group later? So there's several of those things that we can set up ahead of time that are then going to help us with our follow up.
Yeah. Well, and just thinking about those different engagement touches as you were mentioning, like adding one more thing or one more step, it could be as simple as a link to download your church's app, and
Yes.
then the next registration may be a little easier because if they're doing it through the app and they're logged in, then it pre-populates their information, right? The
Yep.
information that's already in there. And here's another way for you to engage them in a mobile friendly kind of way. So, or a mobile first way. We're very mobile friendly as well.
Yes.
But so we kind of talked about some of the things to think through, but what are some common items that churches tend to miss or forget to ask as far as data goes on the registry?
Well, obviously, we're always wanting with kids registrations, with camps, with overnight. Obviously, we always want to make sure that we're nailing contact information, emergency, medical needs, all of those kinds of things. Thinking about making sure we're asking t-shirt sizes. Are there dietary restrictions? Are there any safety things that we need to be aware of? One thing that I see, some churches catch it and some people don't. Just the opportunity when you're signing up for your event, like would you like to help volunteer for this? Are there things that you would like
Hmm.
to do to help prepare? So giving a volunteer opportunity during the registration itself. And then I also think not everybody knows that we can add a donation box or ask for take advantage of the moment that you have and put your fundraising opportunities in front of people.
Yeah.
I know a lot of the events that I've gone to, like there's a scholarship fund. Hey, we offer scholarships. While you're paying for your registration, do you want to contribute to the scholarship fund? Uh,
Yeah. I love that.
and making sure, I think volunteering and fundraising are two huge ones that we don't always think about that. Again, it's not in our checklist if we need this information as we're building an event, but those kind of outside engagement opportunities that we might not always connect with a registration form.
Yeah, I feel like I would have a lot of people kind of come up to me within the church and ask like, "Hey, can I sponsor? Can I
Hmm.
help get more kids to VBS?
Yep.
What does that take?" And if their family already filling out the form, adding one more piece of that of like, "Hey, how many sponsorships would you like to do at this cost?" And
Hmm.
kind of just encouraging people into deeper levels of generosity. It's the worst thing that they could say is no, right? It's not
Yep.
pre-populated answer. So, um, thank you, Becky. Well, let's put it all together. I think Haley's got a slide on this, but what's the ideal flow from registration form all the way to follow up? And just so you know, we are recording this. We're going to repost this. So if you're taking notes in a mad dash to make sure that you don't miss these or screen capturing, it's okay. We are recording
We
this,
got
and
you.
you can always watch it again. So ideal flow, registration to follow up.
Yep. I think the first thing is they're clicking a registration link. Bonus points if it is a branded link that looks like yours, and if it's authenticated, meaning that our system already knows who it is. And like you
Mm.
mentioned, Matt, it's pre-populated. It's got all the information that I gave you the last time I went to camp. I None of that's changed.
Even payment
It
method,
has my
if
saved
it's in
payment
there.
method. I don't have to go
Yeah.
find my wallet to sign up for church camp. It's saved right there. So that first click being branded, authenticated, linked to your account, we're going to complete the registration. We make it really easy to add another person. I might not be the only one that's going. I might be taking my neighbor or my sister-in-law. Um, so we're going to add other people if needed. We are going to get to our confirmation page. Again, it's going to provide information. They're going to get that email that might point them to other events, that's going to give them all the information that they need. We might kickstart a process that says when they've registered for this event, make sure that we are doing these steps in
Hmm.
following up with them. We're going to work hard to take attendance at our event. Again, you can know who's there and know who's not there by taking attendance. And we can do so much ministry wise with that. And then we're going to think through our follow up. How are we going to communicate post event? What are the next steps? How do we invite them into more ministry opportunities or into more connection at church
Hmm.
based on the information that they've provided? So you can make it just a simple open it up, give us your information, and be out of there. Or you can think through this strategically and really take advantage of how many ministry opportunities exist all throughout the process.
Yeah, I love that. Becky, something came to mind that we didn't necessarily have in our notes. So I knew I threw you a softball before, so I'm going to throw you a curveball now.
Perfect.
But when you were talking about processes being kickstarted, I mean, could you use a registration for volunteer interest? And that could kickstart a process for interviews and background checks and doing spiritual gifteds and all that. Like, can you going
Absolutely.
beyond? We've talked a lot about events, right? And I
Yep.
love me some event management, but as we kind of queue up some more Q&As towards the end here, give me a couple of outside of the event ways for us to use registrations.
That's actually perfect. I love that you mentioned volunteers because that's one of the things I'm doing the most right now is helping churches get their volunteer onboarding set up.
Mm,
Most of the time, their volunteer application itself is a registration form.
yeah.
If lots of churches have a some sort of policy that you have to sign to work with vulnerable populations, That's a registration form that you're signing through. You're clicking a date field to add today's date and you're electronically signing. I've got some other ones that are, we have some spiritual gifts assessments taking place through a registration form. Um, you can use them in so many different ways. We also have references. So when you say, here are the people on my reference, who will give me references, we're sending them a different reference or a different, sorry, registration form to complete the references for you. That's too many R words right there. Registrations and references and all the things. Um, but
Wrestling
we
with
can
reference
use these,
registrations. I got it.
right?
Yeah.
We can use all of these things, like registration forms are used for all of those. So it's not just your events, surveys, post-event surveys, all kinds of things.
Yeah.
Very
Love
versatile.
it. Yeah. Do you have any particular suggestions or insights if someone feels stuck on a registration form? I mean, mine would be come to Summit and see us and take all as many registration breakout sessions as you can.
Because apparently
But
we have several.
because we have 6, but you only get to take 5. So, I don't know how that math works out. Anyway, just thought about that. But what would be some suggestions for if someone's stuck? Where can they go for help? How can they get to the next level? Those kinds of things.
That's a really great question. So all of our training videos in our training library have been updated very recently. The registration ones would be very helpful. I believe, let's see, from when Ross and I were doing the newsletter, what did we find? 8 or 10, 12 videos specific to setting up registration forms.
Nice.
Um, there is our documentation library, which is continually being updated. Um, so that's, you've got videos to watch, you've got documents to read. And then the other thing I would encourage, honestly, is to consider consulting at TouchPoint. So what consulting allows us to do is you get to work with somebody like me who's going to sit down with you and listen and say, tell me about your specific event at your church. What are
Hmm.
your goals? What are your ministry needs? And how do we help you utilize the system and the tools that you already have at your fingertips to build this in a way that's going to streamline your process, that's going to be easy for your end user, that's going to get you the reports and the results that you need. But sometimes you just need somebody to sit and do it with you. Sometimes you need somebody who's done a few of these to look at it with you and go, oh, what if you asked that this way?
Yeah, for
So
sure.
I'm a big proponent of using consulting,
Yeah.
obviously,
Yeah.
but it's because
Oh,
we love to help you.
Carla, there are 7 registration form videos. Thank you, Carla.
Good
Um,
job.
we have had a couple of our Q&As already answered live, but just in case you missed them, we had some people asking about the video shell, and Haley dropped a link to that documentation in the chat.
Excellent.
So if you want, or if you're interested in some dynamic registration forms, I would definitely consider that. And then, yeah, we answered Andrea's question live on the Q&A about auto-populating, that as long as somebody is logged in and authenticated, whether it's on their laptop, computer, or favorite mobile device, it will automatically pre-populate some of that and
Oh,
allow
and
them
side
to
note,
change that, right?
I was
Like if
just
I
going to
go,
say, you can update that and you can edit your information in your record while you're filling out the registration
so
form.
I mean, I used to be a small, I'm kind of a schmedium, but if I need to bump up to a medium, I totally can, right? Even, and it
You
will
can change
update
that
it.
right there and it's going to change it on your record.
Hashtag dad bod. All right, sweet. Um, I'm really going to try to get out of this with a job intact. So yeah, any other questions, any other insights, Becky, that you feel like we missed today? Anything that you're particularly proud of that our church partners are currently doing that's uh, just different? We serve large churches that have unique needs, and each one is doing it differently. So, what are you
Mhm.
seeing out in the field? What are some of your final thoughts if we don't get some more questions up in here?
Yeah, I think one of the things that I'm seeing churches do, and I'm working with some churches on, is actually connecting a couple of different registration forms so that we can capture different information at different points in the process.
Mm,
So, one of the things that we often run into is with a guest, Let's say this is your new guest form that's in your welcome center. You don't want to ask them, we're not going to try to get them to log in. We just want to ask
You
them
don't?
their information. But by the time that we're done with them, we do want to have them logged in because we want them to add their child. We want them to add their spouse. We want them to add grandma who lives with them. So when we connect that to a secondary registration and say, hey, you just gave us your cell phone number. Can you confirm that number for us? And then we kind of get them into a second registration without really even knowing it. But it gives them some of the functionality of being logged in without
Mm-hmm.
having to officially log them in. So that's one of the things I've been doing a little bit more creatively, depending on the situation, is kind of tying a couple registrations together. Register yourself. Now on your finish page, hey, here's a big button that says, I have a child to bring, right? I'm already
Mm.
logged in, but now I'm going to go pull up my child's information because I need to register them for childcare. So making those processes seamless and those connecting those two registration forms in a way that you don't really even know that you left one and started another one.
Oh, you're a wizard, Becky.
If
Hey,
you haven't thought
Becky.
of it, try it.
Hey, Becky.
Yeah.
Can you hear me? All right, I'm going to chime in here because we just had a question come in the chat, or the Q&A rather, about setting up subgroups. And so I sent a help article that walks through creating questions and saving them as subgroups. But I thought it might be a good time if you want to share some tips about naming conventions for
Yeah.
subgroups, thinking
Ooh.
about reports.
Yes. So I definitely recommend keeping some sort of naming convention. So our system is automatically going to alphabetize all of your subgroups. But what that means is if you say, which ministry do you want to start volunteering in? And it's children's ministries and it's safety and it's special needs. And what you might want to actually have is ministry, safety, ministry, children's, ministry, elementary. So if you build in some of those naming conventions, it's going to be a lot easier to organize on the backside. When you put a prefix in front of a subgroup like that, you can actually pull some of those into reports and say, I only want to see these subgroups that have this ministry or this certain prefix in front of them. And then when you're building your registrations, you'll notice there's a little drop down where it says save answer. That's really what you're looking for. You can save your answer just in the registration, or you can save it in the subgroup, which is saved within the involvement for as long as they are within the involvement. And then there's even an option to save their registration information as an extra value, which saves it on their people record. So if
Hmm.
it's something that is true about them, regardless of whether they come to your women's retreat or not, it might be something that you actually want to say, hey, I want to save this as an extra value. So there's a variety of different ways then even to save the information and
Yep.
and how to use that. Then all of those things can be pulled into reports later.
Yeah, you don't want to create a bunch of subgroups without naming them and then have to individually go through and subgroup them yourself. So naming and searching is a really great idea.
Yes. I'm looking
Uh,
at these questions here. Yes, you absolutely can use registration forms for book orders and payments. I'm working with another church who's actually putting their bookstore into a TouchPoint registration with they're putting a photo in because you can put a photo of the book and then say how many of each book you'd like to purchase.
ooh,
You can set limits to that. You can build all those things into a registration form.
sweet.
Mary, yes, a shirt size is a good example for what might be used as an extra value. However, we actually have a shirt size field in TouchPoint, but something like that. One example I can give from a church I worked with is we would do English classes. And so the question we would ask is, what is your native language?
Hmm.
Or what is the language that's spoken at home? That doesn't matter what you're signing up for, that piece of information is helpful to have on their people record, regardless of whether they're just at your event or not.
I mean, I could think of a fun extra value of what is your favorite color, and then you just find fun ways to incorporate that into conversation with people. Or you subgroup them and you put all the blue people at a blue table and all the green people at a green table.
That's exactly. You could
Just-
totally do that.
You could totally do that.
Sam, you are welcome to email me to see a live example of the multiple registrations. I have some set up in a test database that I would be happy to share with you.
Ooh.
I can't pull that and put the link out for everybody right now. Sorry. Robert, Venmo payments. We do not right now. But although I was just thinking like you could build a registration and put no fee in it and then just put a QR code. So maybe you might be able to pull it off. You could put it in your QR code as a picture. That's not an official answer. That's just me brainstorming on the spot. But no, we don't have Venmo payments connected.
All right. We have just a couple of more minutes left. So if we didn't get to all of your questions, I know Haley is mad typing and Becky's
Yes, she
reviewing some of
is.
these questions as well, but we have just a couple of announcements. Ooh, you can also grab the URL for a Venmo account and hyperlink it to the confirmation screen.
Perfect.
Creative application.
There you go,
This
Mary.
is the power of community. Mary
Yes, it
to
is.
Robert. All right. So announcements. If you have not registered for Summit, like the 7 people that said that they did on my Discord poll, you can vote to say if you have or haven't. But anyway, we would love for you to join us in Bentonville at Cross Church in September. Please, please, please come and join us. We have some new ministry partners that we're looking forward to introducing you to, some new breakout sessions. And one of the things that I was thinking about today was just the power of the TouchPoint community. Summit, Discord, what we do here on webinars or roundtables, the case studies, that sharing each other's stories to help elevate just the kingdom of God in any way that we can, right? I want you all to know that you are not alone. You're not the first person to have felt a certain way or to have had a particular idea. Nothing is new under the sun. And so there's another church that we would love to connect you with as we all grow together in partnership. And Summit is a big part of that. Our other announcement is webinar is going to be next month as well. It's going to be over TouchPoint Giving. We'll keep our moderators' names anonymous for now. We'll be releasing that soon. I think Becky and I are going to take a sabbatical off of webinars for a moment. So probably not us. You get to see some fresh faces, but mark your calendars, August 28th at 2 p.m. Central, 1 p.m. Mountain for Mary Bree, because there's not that many mountain churches, but shout out. I just want to thank you for being here. Becky, did you have any other things?
I think we're good.
We will save the
reach out.
questions.
Feel
We will
free to
save
reach
the
out if you've got
questions.
registration questions.
Yes.
We're always here to help.
Yeah. Appreciate you guys.
Yep.
God bless.
Bye, you guys.